festivals are usually remembered for the movies and the prize winners. But at the IFFI in Goa, the exact opposite has happened. It wasn't a movie that has made the headlines, it was a jury member. Meet Nadav Labid. He's a filmmaker from Israel and he headed the jury panel at the International Film Festival of India. Like I said, one of the movies screened at the event was Kashmir Files. After the screening, Labid had some tough criticism for the film. And when I say tough, I mean it in every sense of the word. Listen to what exactly he said.
Disturbed and shocked by the 15th film, by the movie Kashmir Files, that felt to us like a propaganda vulgar movie, inappropriate for an artistic competitive section of such a prestigious film festival.
So to quote him, he called it vulgar propaganda. Now, before we move on to the reactions, let me tell you how Kashmir Files ended up at the IFFI. The festival usually awards the Golden Peacock to trailblazing movies of the year. 15 films were nominated for this award. That's 12 international films and 3 Indian ones. They are first vetted and shortlisted in Delhi before being sent to Goa for the jury to select. As you heard from Labid, he was not happy with the selection of Kashmir Files. He called it an inappropriate pick. The question is, did other members also feel the same? One of them, Shubdipto Sen, says it was Labid's personal observation that he made on stage. He distanced himself and the rest of the jury from the criticism that came on stage. Listen in.
There is no question to doubt their integrity. But what Nadav has done, as I said, I'm surprised. It was uncalled for. He shouldn't have done this.
Are you hurt, sir?
Well, I am definitely hurt because Kashmir, as I said, the liking or disliking is a personal choice. It has nothing to do with the jurors. And Kashmir File has become India's craze, India's love.
Let's say the I&B ministry should have seen this coming. Let me tell you a bit about Nadav Labid. He's been making films for more than 2 decades, 20 years. His movies have won high praise and critical awards. But his ideology has confused many moviegoers. On one hand, he calls out anti-Semitism and narrates the struggles of Jewish people all over the world. At the same time, he also calls out Israel's occupation of Palestinian land and its treatment of Arabs. So he doesn't fit any description back in Israel, neither that of a patriot or of a rebel. He's what many of his fans call free and fearless. So that's exactly what he did in Goa as well. Labid made those comments in front of Anurag Thakur, India's Information and Broadcasting Minister. Several top actors and filmmakers were also in attendance, including Akshay Kumar. So while some people are calling his remarks courageous, others have dubbed it anti-India. Which brings us to another important question. Why is this movie so controversial? I'm sure you've heard enough to know the answer, but let me give you a refresher course. Kashmir Files is a film about the exodus of Kashmiri Pandits from the valley. Now, right at the outset, let me tell you this. The plight of Pandits is real. The hardships they faced are real. And the losses they experienced and are still experiencing are real. Nobody, absolutely nobody, can deny that. But many people took offense with the details of the film, like the portrayal of certain incidents or the characterization of the Muslim community in the film, or the numbers that were quoted by filmmakers. This led to a division of opinion within India. One section called it a much-needed movie on the plight of the Pandits. The others called it propaganda. It was clear which side the government was on. Multiple BJP-ruled states declared the movie tax-free. Even Prime Minister Narendra Modi praised it openly. And you could see the effect on the box office. Kashmir Files ran for more than 50 days in theatres across India. Total collection, more than 340 crore rupees. To give you some context there, the movie was made with a budget of less than 25 crores. So at the box office, it was a massive success. Among critics, not so much. The movie did not win a single award worth mentioning. Of course, the makers don't see it that way. Both director Vivek Agnihotri and actor Anupam Kher have staunchly defended their film. In fact, Mr. Kher addressed a press conference today with Israel's Consul General in Mumbai by his side. The diplomat had actually gone there to meet the actor and apologize on behalf of Israel for the comments that were made by Nadav. We'll get to the diplomatic storm in just a bit on the show, but first listen to what Anupam Kher and Vivek Agnihotri have had to say about the entire controversy.
जैसे ही ये इन्होंने स्पीच दी, एक आई थिंक 30 सेकंड के अंदर भरमार आ गई सबकी. हाँ देखिए देखिए, आई वॉज टोल्ड बाय वेरी वेरी informed source that he was missing throughout the night from his room. So I was telling them this is a toolkit gang who sent the messages there. So everybody knew that this is the statement that he's going to make, and he wrote that speech which was not given, which was not he was supposed to speak. So it's a very pre-planned kind of a thing. It's unfortunate.
आखिर ये लोग कौन हैं? ये वही लोग हैं जो कश्मीर फाइल्स के 4 साल पहले जब मैंने रिसर्च चालू किया था तब से इस फिल्म को प्रोपेगेंडा बोल रहे हैं. 700 लोगों के पर्सनल इंटरव्यूज के बाद ये फिल्म बनी है. क्या वो 700 लोगों जिनके माँ बाप भाई बहनों को सरेआम काट दिया गया, गैंगरेप किया गया, 2 टुकड़ों में बांट दिया गया, क्या वो सब लोग प्रोपेगेंडा और अश्लील बातें कर रहे हैं?
Now, the political reactions are also coming in thick and fast to the controversy. The opposition is basically saying, we told you so. They had criticized the Kashmir Files as a propaganda film. And with this criticism at IFFI, they feel vindicated. Shiv Sena MP Priyanka Chaturvedi also asked some important questions in the same context. One, when was the last time Home Minister Amit Shah met the Kashmiri Pandits? And two, when was the last time the Union Cabinet took steps for their rehabilitation? These are questions that Priyanka Chaturvedi has asked. Now, the government on its part has completely distanced itself from the whole controversy. There has been no statement that has come in from the INB ministry so far.
तो ये जो बात है कश्मीर फाइल्स के बारे में, ये सच है. अगर कोई ये ने कहा होगा, मैं तो अभी इतना ही देखता हूँ कि जिस तरह से प्रोपेगेंडा हुआ था एक पार्टी का और एक पार्टी के खिलाफ, उसके लिए फिल्म बनाई थी. और एक पूरी पार्टी, पूरी सरकार, जहाँ जहाँ बीजेपी की सरकार है, वो उस प्रचार में लगा. लेकिन ये सिनेमा आने के बाद कश्मीर में सबसे ज़्यादा किलिंग्स हुई है पंडितों की. आपने देखा होगा, पंडितों को मारा गया, सुरक्षा कर्मियों को मारा गया. तब ये कश्मीर फाइल वाले कहाँ थे?
In your own reign, when the Kashmiri Pandits were killed and displaced, BJP was keeping quiet in the government, and now you make a film and try to project that the opposition parties have done it. It's a sponsored, produced by BJP, this movie, promoted by BJP, and that kind of a movie, which is a propaganda movie, cannot come into an international film festival.
कश्मीरी फाइल जो है निहायत ही बेहुदा, वाहियात और इरेशनल मूवी. प्रोपेगेंडा फिल्में अलग होती हैं, फैक्ट एंड फिगर अलग होता है. सो फिल्म मेकर नदाव का
जो जूरी चेयरमैन था उसका स्टेटमेंट का कंडेम्ड करता हूं. जिस तरह से उसने उस प्लेटफॉर्म का यूज करके, यानी इजराइल एम्बेसडर ने भी कहा कि ये शब्द उन्होंने नहीं कहना चाहिए, ये उन्होंने मिसयूज किया. मैं भी कहूंगा कि उन्होंने उस प्लेटफॉर्म का मिसयूज किया है.
Now, amidst all this political clamor, let's not forget the subjects of this controversial film, the Kashmiri Pandits themselves. They were forced to leave the Kashmir Valley in the 1990s amidst rising Islamist militancy. Many of them dream of returning home, but successive governments have failed to help them. Even the current BJP government, which claims to champion the Pandits, has failed to facilitate their return. Even amongst the community, the opinion on what has happened is split. Some Kashmiri Pandits welcome the movie as an accurate representation of their hardships. Others blame the filmmaker and the government for using them as political pawns. Listen in to what Kashmiri Pandits are making of this criticism at IFFI.
ये वल्गर प्रोपेगेंडा नहीं है, ये हमारी सच्चाई है और ये सच्चाई दर्शाई गई है बहुत ही राइटियस वे में, क्योंकि 32 साल से जो प्रोपेगेंडा हमारे खिलाफ चल रहा था उसको इस मूवी ने डिफीट किया है। और जो इकोसिस्टम है, जो इंडिया में भी है और इंडिया के बाहर भी है, उनको ये बात बहुत खटक रही है कि ये प्रोपेगेंडा कैसे डिफीट हो गया।
बच्चों को मारा गया, अनगिनत घर जलाए गए। अगर नदाव लपी को ये सब वल्गर लगता है तो सोचिए सच्चाई कितनी वल्गर रही होगी। समस्या ये है कि 30 साल से टूल किट गैंग, लेफ्ट ट्रिबल गैंग ने कश्मीर में हुए अत्याचारों पे पर्दा डाल रखा था, और ये शायद लेफ्ट ट्रिबल गैंग जो जिहाद के सपोर्ट में रहता है, जो इस्लामी सपोर्ट में रहता है, उनसे बर्दाश्त नहीं हुआ।
The final piece of this story is the reaction from Israel itself. Yes, Nadav Labid is an Israeli filmmaker, but he's not an official representative of the government. What he says does not reflect Israel's official position. Yet, the government was quick to respond. First, Israel's ambassador to India wrote an open letter to Lapid. He said the filmmaker should be ashamed of what he has said. He also apologized on behalf of his country. Now, technically, the Indian government did not register a diplomatic protest. Despite that, the Israeli envoys went into an overdrive. The Consul General in Mumbai went down to meet Anupam Kher, the actor of the film, and apologized to him in person. We will discuss this reaction in detail in just a bit, but first listen in to what the Israeli diplomats said.
It's not an easy, but for me it was very important to know what's happening in Kashmir. I know that it is under dispute. Some people don't want to see the film. Some people went to see the film, and I'm as a diplomat here, I would like to know what is the issue, and it was very important for me. And afterwards, I think that it was shown in Israel as well, the film, several times. And it was a reaction because we are, as a Jewish people who suffered from such horrible things, I think that we have to share.
I think that one private person with his own opinion shouldn't change anything here. And that's what I was trying to tell, that the relations are much stronger than this individual, another individual. Each one is entitled to his own opinion. My opinion is obviously different. I'm very happy in India. I think that the relations will continue regardless of this or another individual. And we will continue to celebrate our cooperation and our culture closeness and our unity rather than focusing on disturbing noises.
So what explains this hyperactive response? Broadly speaking, two things. The Jewish experience during the Holocaust has sensitized Israelis to tragedies elsewhere, so they can understand the pain of the Kashmiri Pandits and their exodus. What's more, many users on social media began a tit-for-tat campaign. They said if the Pandit exodus was right, so was the Holocaust in Nazi Germany. In fact, the Israeli ambassador alluded to this campaign in his tweet. He said that the embassy was flooded with anti-Semitic messages after what happened at the film festival. So the embassy had to go into damage control. The second reason is the depth of the India-Israel ties, both political and defense ties. Both countries have built an excellent relationship under the BJP government since 2014. So this response is a testimony to how much Israel values those ties and the businesses with India. Having said that, multiple questions remain. Why bother inviting a jury if you cannot accept their criticism? Why bother entering a film into a festival if you cannot accept negative feedback? At the same time, could the jury chief have phrased his criticism better? Yes, you can dislike a movie, but were words like vulgar and propaganda warranted, especially when it comes to such a sensitive issue? That is the question I'm going to put to my guests who are joining me this evening. It's going to be a brief chat, but this is a chat that we need to have calmly. Lalit Ambardar is an actor, he's an activist, he's someone who will speak on behalf of India and all Kashmiri Pandits as well. And Kamruzzaman Chaudhary is a political analyst. He's joining us on the broadcast as well. Mr. Chaudhary, thank you very much. I'm coming to you first, Mr. Chaudhary.
Yeah.
I understand the entire point of entering a film and then having the stomach to take criticism, right? Everyone cannot like a film. If most of India doesn't like a film, doesn't mean all of, if most of India likes a film, doesn't mean all of India likes a film. I get that. But this was a jury member. If you don't like the film, you didn't select it for the Golden Peacock Award. And that is where the story should have ended. Why go on a stage and pick a film and criticize it? Knowing how political the issue in India is, it's almost like being tone deaf to what is happening in India.
Well, Shreya, good evening to you and my fellow panelists out here. You know one thing, the Israeli jury never mentioned what happened to the Kashmiri Pandits in the 90s, nor did he deny any of the incidents. But what he said echoed our views on Kashmir File as a propaganda and a vulgar movie. We all believed it long, and which was not at all fit to be screened in a film festival. Now you must be questioning my views on this particular movie. This remains constant right from the day the movie was released. But what today happened is I'm very surprised at how the Hindutva and the Zionist forces, or rather the Zionist ecosystem, is frothing at the mouth about a film which was banned in several countries. In fact, countries like Singapore have banned it. What was their concern? That the film had a potential to cause enmity between different communities. So that was there. And in fact, after the movie was released, we also saw what happened inside the cinema halls also, where the movie was screened. We saw how Islamophobic slogans were raised by the right-wing ecosystem. Now, a film based on extreme human tragedy ideally should lead to reconciliation and reflection, filling powerless minority groups with vicarious guilt and shame for the tragic exodus of Kashmiri Pandits. Again, at the same time, simultaneously, you erase and cancel and often celebrate the immense violence, like the Gujarat genocide of 2002, the minorities have faced. So, the gut-wrenching story of the Kashmiri Pandit should not be weaponized for stoking anti-Muslim violence. It's quite simple as that. So, but ultimately, what needed, we have been calling out the movie for...
Mr. Chaudhary, I again ask you. You are saying the pain of the Kashmiri Pandits has been weaponized to target Muslims in this country. My question to you, I'll come to that in just a bit. My question to you was very simple. In which country has there a film festival has been held where a jury member comes on stage and the head of a jury, not just a jury member, the head of a jury comes on stage and denounces and criticizes a film? If you don't like the film, you've already decided not to give it the Golden Award. You've already decided. You've said you don't like the film. Why come and diss it on stage? In a country where the issue of Kashmiri Pandits is so sensitive. That's the only point I'm trying to make. Lalit Ambardar, what do you make of what has happened through the day today? Last evening when the story broke at 9 o'clock, and what has happened through the day today?
See, there are two things about it. Number one is about what you rightly explained about the procedure, the protocol you have at film festivals, especially at the Six Matches. It's a very prestigious event. So what does this guy do? You have a right to criticize the technicalities involved with cinematic process. You can say he's a bad director, the performance has been very pathetic, the script is bad, lighting is bad, sound is bad, editing is bad. That comes under your preview. What this guy does, he targets the subject of the film, which is unprecedented. So he calls the subject as propaganda, subject as vulgar. So my natural response would be, what do you find vulgar and propaganda material in this film? I want to ask the two panelists here also. He said we have been saying it all along. Now that it has been, of course, foreigner has certified the view of the left liberals and so-called seculars in India. Ask him, when did you last speak about Kashmiri Hindu genocide in your political career? He will have no answer for it. Now let me tell you, Shreya, 32 saal ho gaye, 30 years. If Kashmir today continues to be part of here, it is because of us. because we had been struggling on the street. Otherwise, successive governments had written it off. Here, it was just, you know what, Agra, what they were about to do, sign on it. And then what was left, Manmohan Singh was carrying forward. They say he had even prepared his Nobel Prize speech, because that was going to be a Himalayan surrender on Kashmir. And we have not heard any denial from Mr. Manmohan Singh till that. Now tell me, what do you find so, it's repulsive. Yes, if you show a woman is being raped, it will be repulsive. If you show people shouting, Muslims of Kashmir on the 19th January 1990, ma'am, the whole Kashmir was either in the mosque or in the streets shouting slogans, Yahan kya chalega Nizam-e-Mustafa. Kashmir mein rehna hoga, Allah Akbar kehna hoga. You leave your women here and men you bazaar from here. You call it hatred. And till now the society is protecting, and this person, I have a right to tell him, he has a right. He is protecting the rapists, murderers of Kashmiri Hindus. Not a word against them. Those people who should have been hanged 30 years ago had such kind of authority. They have been eulogized to this extent. They're not militants. They are terrorists, jihadi terrorists. They reached up to the power corridors in Delhi, had pictures with the Prime Minister of India. And now one of them is slogging in the jail.
Mr.
Today.
Chaudhary?
That's how it was.
Yeah.
Forward,
I understand the pain of Lalitji. There is no denying the fact that incidents that took place in the 1990s.
You want me to stop?
No, Lalitji, I just want to say something. I just wanted to say something. You mentioned the word, the secular gang, etc.
I'm not talking about Islam.
I want to say that I am a proud secular. Lalitji, एक बात सुन लीजिए. I am a proud secular. But can I ever deny the pain of what Kashmiri Pandits have gone through? Never ever.
Exactly.
So ये secularism की क्यों दुहाई देते हैं बात-बात? And my point is, has this Kashmiri Pandit pain been weaponized by everyone?
Who can do that?
By Vivek Agnihotri, by the BJP government, by the Congress government, by everyone.
Ma'am, Kashmiri Hindus did not feature even the footnotes of your channels 10 years ago. I have been thrown out of the seminar halls, hauled by police, made to detain in police stations till the seminar would be over. You know, what would be the conversation in the seminar hall? It wasn't whether India should bend on Kashmir. It was how much India could be goaded to bend on Kashmir. And we resisted. Today, if I am trying to tell you, I am not talking about Islam, the faith. I'm talking Islamism. I'm talking which is terror infested, which is expansionist. That's what India is suffering in Kashmir. Unfortunately, even this government,
Shreya, that's the fight against. The narrative that these people have created,
genocide.
that is the fight that we are fighting against in India right now.
Rapist, murders, sir, मैं आपको intervene नहीं किया ना सर.
नहीं, आप तो one sided बोल के जा रहे हो.
Lalitji, you have made some points. You have made some points, Lalitji. Lalit Ambardar, you have made some points. Let Mr. Chaudhary respond to that.
Yeah, that is the narrative that is being created in India right now. The Kashmiri Pandits' pain can never die. They are always in our hearts. Whatever happened in Kashmir, whatever happened in 2002, Gujarat, whatever happened in 1983, Assam Nelli massacre, all these are within our hearts, and we have lived that history. No, just please, sir, Mr. Lalit, let me finish my point. I understand your pain. No, let me finish my point, sir. You can rebut through the anchor, but let me finish my point.
Mr. Ambardar, you can rebut what you can. I will give you time for a rebuttal. Mr. Ambardar, I know this is an emotional matter for every Kashmiri Pandit, and not just every Kashmiri Pandit, let me tell you, for every Indian. So there is another point of view. Let's listen to what Mr. Chaudhary is saying, and I'll come back to you.
Now, the point, Shreya, out here that I wanted to make out here is that is Vivek Agnihotri or the Kashmir Files the sole spokesperson of the entire Kashmiri Pandit community? This is simply misguided and contributes to the harmful idea that there can be a monopoly on a narrative as complex as this one, the Kashmiri Pandits issue. That is the bottom line. I cannot be a spokesperson of my community, neither does Vivek Agnihotri hold the right to be a spokesperson of the Kashmiri Pandits. All Indians, 135 crore Indians, must take the responsibility and must share the pain of our Kashmiri Pandit brothers and sisters. Even if the BJP government is there, even if the BJP government is ruling the state, why has the Kashmiri Pandits problems not been solved till date? That is a bigger question that needs to be asked. No need to point out fingers at the ecosystem. No need to point out fingers at a toolkit that is being hypothetically projected out here. But the basic question that is remaining out here, a tragedy happened in the 1990s. Now you are trying to weaponize it to target your feelings against another side of a community. Now you are calling one genocide for a what you call this, dog whistling another community. That is the objection out here, ma'am.
Mr. Ambardar, I'll give you the last word on this debate.
Ma'am, should you not take action against a rapist and mass murderer just because he happen to belong to a particular faith? Listen,
why not?
Farooq Ahmed Dar, who is called Bita Karate, the self-acclaimed, self-confessed butcher of Kashmiri Hindus. You know, when he was released from the jail when Ghulam Nabi Azad was the chief minister of Jammu and Kashmir. You know the judge's observations? We know there are serious charges against this man, but the prosecution has failed to pursue the case. This is how it is.
There are such cases like Bilkis Banu cases.
Like that is a failing of the judicial system.
Just a second.
You cannot be just watching.
So that is a failing of India's judicial system.
Yes, absolutely. This is not, you cannot just pinpoint that failure
and has
of the judiciary at a particular
put right
community.
by Kashmir Files? I want to ask you, Lalit ji, the issue of Kashmiri Pandits and the exodus of the 1990s is an emotional issue. It should have remained an emotional issue. But what the film has done is made it political.
Who has made it political? What Agnihotri have told him on his face. What you have done, what your film has done, you have reached out to those corners of the world where we have not been able to do in 30 years. But I have been on the streets. I've been with 32 years of life towards it. I'm repeating it. I just want to ask him, he has made a film. He's not my representative. He's not going to speak for me. He has done a job. That's his job. But what I want to tell you is, who were the people representing when Amar Jawan Jyoti was damaged in Azad Maidan in Mumbai for Rohingyas, Muslims? Tell me, who were they representing? When you take out candle march for Hamas in Jantar Mantar, who do you represent that? Hamas, by the way, you are not acknowledged terror outfit.
Just spare me 10 seconds.
Okay, Mr. Chaudhary. If the film, Lalitji, you know, about the Israeli filmmaker, if one film is leading to such extreme reactions / dog whistling, is that what the filmmaker meant by vulgar propaganda? Possibly, yes. Should he have said what he said on stage? Absolutely no. I mean, it's a case of being completely tone deaf. But anyhow,
speaking with the same
I'll let Mr. Chaudhary.
I object to your observation, man.
No, the point here, Shreya, you know,
Mr.
you
Chaudhary,
cannot.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you cannot compare one incident with another incident. Such a big country, you know, the second largest populated country in the world. Incidents like this have happened, and it's a very dark history that we have got. Prior to independence also, such violent incidents happened. During independence, during the partition, in the 1971 war, such genocides happened. We are all at pains of those people who have lost their near and dear ones. But using the sentiments of a particular community to drive home an agenda, that's where the real problem starts and ends. You know the Zionist of Israel and you know the Hindutva forces of India. They're at a partnership right now. To create a fear psychosis or create an Islamophobia across the world. And that is the biggest worry. Our India feels for each and every one citizen, and we want that India back. We don't want people like Vivek Agnihotri, who was an atheist prior to 2014. You can see his tweets, but now he has has become the biggest champion of Hinduism across the country, across the world rather. He even faked a conference also on his name. So we as Indians do not want Vivek Agnihotri to make such propaganda films and represent a particular community that has lost too much in the Kashmir Valley.
Ma'am?
Okay, we'll leave it there for the moment.
I just can't understand, when you talk about Hindu genocide, it becomes non-secular, because Hindu lives do not matter in this country. You ignored the Mopla massacre. You had Noakhali massacre. For days, Hindu bodies were being eaten by vultures. 1947, Hindu and Sikhs suffered genocide. JK, Pakistan occupied Jammu Kashmir.
I mentioned those incidents. We all feel for them. We all feel for them. But has anybody made a 2002 Gujarat Files? Has anybody made a 1983 Massacre Files of Assam? Has anybody made any film of the Muzaffarnagar riots? Has anybody made any files of the Hindutva ecosystems? I'm very sorry, sir. Don't be so biased in your reasoning and approach that India cannot reclaim its secular nature once again, sir.
Did you prosecute for involved in Kashmiri Hindu genocide?
When it comes to the film, that is what it has done. It has made people take positions and extreme positions. We'll leave it there for the moment. Lalit Ambardar, thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Chaudhary, thank you very much for joining us. The film was released 8 months ago. It was controversial. It continues to be controversial even today. We'll slip into a quick break on the show. There's news coming up on the other side, some breaking news coming in as well. So do stay with us.